Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me in another video. So I meant to cover this collection a little bit earlier, but I think right now I just have to talk about this. I've just been looking at this collection so much. I feel like this past little bit has been quite a whirlwind, but despite all that, when looking at this collection, every time I just see her work, I'm reminded that Phoebe Philo is the closest thing to a Chanel of our time. I'm not saying she's Chanel, I'm not saying she's her reincarnated, but I think she is someone that is capturing that spirit of Chanel. And I also need to say there have been many designers that have captured that spirit of Chanel. Many designers have had a similar approach, and it's more than just an aesthetic or having certain codes or a look. It's a constant willingness to look at the times we are in and create fashion that makes the wearer feel comfortable and confident and redefine modern dressing. Whether it be designers like Jill Sander, Giorgio Armani, Donna Karan, many of these designers have captured that kind of spirit of what it means to move fashion forward. And Phoebe Philo belongs to that lineage. She's not repeating the codes of any house. She's rewriting what women's dressing looks like today and what it will look like years from now. Because with Phoebe, what feels unusual now is often what we're gonna see imitated years from now. And you can just look at her tenure at Chloe, to her iconic years at Celine, to even now her own brand. Her influence is everywhere. Even in 2025, the Chloe Paddington is back. The Celine luggage has been revamped. Of course, these mega conglomerates, Richemont, LVMH, they're still making billions of dollars off of these designs. And yet, no matter how many brands reissue her designs or reinterpret her shapes, silhouettes, there's just something unmistakable about what Phoebe does. Like, her clothes have this boldness, almost like this blunt femininity that isn't always about pleasing others or is about quote unquote like making fashion look flattering for women. I think it's always expressing a certain kind of attitude and ease that just is so right for the time, yet you can have these items in your wardrobe. You can still wear them for years and years and years, for decades even. So I think in that sense, fashion that has this kind of sense of ease and comfort, but has the ability to move forward, but can be worn for years and decades after, that is very Chanel to me. Of course, with Phoebe's own brand, she's not playing the industry rules. She's not doing fashion shows or even traditional collections. Instead, she's releasing her work in these collection A, B. We're now on C. What we're looking at here, we did see the lookbook for collection D. These lookbooks within these collections, she has drops. So that's what we're going to talk about, her latest drop here. But she's building her brand slowly, thoughtfully, on her own terms. And honestly, in this oversaturated fashion world, I find it incredibly refreshing. Anyways, let's just get into this latest drop. And I'm going to start with bags. So first we have the small gig bag in ginger. So this is a shearling and it has a suede lining. It's that signature accordion silhouette with the 3 compartments. She's evolving her aesthetic, moving it forward. I've seen so many brands do this accordion look recently, especially after the launch of her gig bag. Of course, did she invent the accordion shape? No, but it's just curious to see. She does something, a lot of brands follow suit, even these mega luxury brands. Anyways, this is in shearling, and again, it gives me this like warm, fuzzy feeling. So next, let's talk about the mini bean bag sling. So I tried this bag on in person. If I were taller or just had a longer torso, I feel like this would have been amazing. I love this sort of like elongated sort of droplet like shape. But yeah, maybe if I wear like a coat, it could work better on me. I think it is so chic. Most people won't have the problem I have. It's pretty reasonable. Like, I'm saying reasonable in quotations, just hovering at like the 1K. I think it's like $12.50 like USD. Then we've got, I wouldn't really say this is technically a bag, but I just want to highlight this pouch pendant. It's very much like a style we are seeing in fashion right now. Utility pendants, like we saw this a lot on this runway. But I think it is very much a style that I feel like a lot of brands that have more of this like minimalist ethos. I always think of Margiela for Hermes, but like even brands like La Mer to the Row have done this. So here's Phoebe Philo with this pouch. Instead of a leather strap though, we've got like a jewelry chain, so it feels like a cross between something that feels like a formal necklace but attached to a miniature leather coin purse. So now let's talk about shoes. So we've got these knee-high boots in this oxblood color. I love this oxblood. It's more of like a brownishy kind of red, but she's been doing it in like the bags and other types of leather goods, but these are more of like a knee-high boot. I feel like personally for me, I've been going for the pointed boots a lot more recently, but it's making me, again, this is why I love Phoebe, because it's just making making me reconsider like how I would like even style my existing closet. It's just been a while since I've really taken out like a round toe boot, and I'm kind of into it, and I feel like I have some boots already in my closet I would love to wear again. Next, we've got these bumper booties. So it's more of, if I'm just gonna be honest, an Ugg boot at the surface level, but it does feel more elevated. It's got that ribbed leather cuff. It's more of this like monochromatic. Think of Uggs, I think of that kind of contrasted cream shearling, whereas this is quite monochromatic, more seamless, but you still get that like warmth and comfort that you would from an Ugg boot. Like, I just think Uggs look quite casual, whereas this I feel you can wear during the winter weather but still feel quite elevated. On to other accessories. So here are these Hallmark earrings in gold. We've already seen these in the silver, so if you prefer gold, it's an option. I also like, just looking at this model here, Phoebe Philo has really, with the launch of her brand, been showing the imperfections and like the beauty of imperfections. This model is absolutely gorgeous, and like also you see the scars on her face, and it's just something that she's done. Like, you see, be it the scars, the laugh lines, the look of the models is very natural. For Collection D, we did see some like exploration in like nails and lipstick, which I loved. The like color of those nails is like the palette I'm obsessed with, but I just love how she shows the imperfection and the beauty of these imperfections and like not editing this out. Next, we've got this capuche in ginger and dark brown. So it's again that shearling, very present throughout this drop. We'll talk about outerwear in just a moment, but it's a seamless way to add on a hood. It also feels more stylish, but it's also incredibly functional. I feel like in Canada, this is something I could easily see myself wearing. Like, there's a practicality, but also that style element, which is why I love Phoebe. The way it's styled, it has like a high neck, and you can wear it almost like a scarf, or it can be a proper hood. Even just, I think if you're like indoors and you just want something like cozy around your neck, worn with like a simple like knit or turtleneck, and then just have this in place of like a scarf. So chic, super practical design, but I also love this as a fashion piece. But this is why I love Phoebe. Now let's just move on to ready to wear, and I'll focus on next like the outerwear and jackets category. So just continuing on here, we've got these super soft bombers, this deep brown and ginger. So you want that ultra comfortable, toasty, but chic look. Phoebe has you covered. But I also get, maybe if you live somewhere where it's not as cold, you just probably want the bomber. You don't need the hood. I love the idea of a teddy bomber. And what I also love is the Phoebe Philo proportion, where at the waist it crops for where you're going to be wearing your like pleated pants or denim or whatever you're wearing. Just again, where the pockets are placed, this alone, the crop, the pockets, like there's just an attitude with the proportion and placement of these small minor details. And then next we have the stud jacket in black leather. So Phoebe Philo has been doing these ruched leather jackets since the launch of her brand, so we're seeing this continue forward. But to me, this is over the top version. Got these accented hexagonal silver studs, this generous shawl collar. There's such a volume, but then the waist, it's very low slung. And again, this is a silhouette she did with her very first drop. I love the ruching. It just has that flair. I'm just someone who loves like a little peplum thing like this, but huge fan of this. And then we've got this hexagonal studded belt, and then the belted tabs on the wrists, and apparently it's cashmere lined, super luxurious. It's also a small fortune at 16,000 euros, but it has this edginess to this. I did see that this was worn on Kim Kardashian, Hailey Bieber, Jennie Kim, these kind of like it girls that are seen wearing a lot of the hot fashion pieces. But I feel like this piece, I absolutely see like the edgier people in fashion, be it like a Lady Gaga who has worn Phoebe Philo, or like a Charlie XCX wear something like this. I just feel like there's such a like badass energy about some of her pieces. Some of them are like nice quiet luxury, etc. that really works well with that kind of aesthetic, but there's also like a bluntness. It's fashion that isn't necessarily quote flattering, but I don't think a piece like this and a lot of her clothes are for the woman that is looking to be flattering. There is kind of this like badass attitude with like a piece like this. Next we've got this shaved robe coat. Just from the description, it's a belted robe coat in tobacco shearling with a high collar, raglan sleeves, and gentle rounded, lightly padded shoulders. The texture shaved shearling is soft and fluid with a mottled velvety finish, black silk lining. Has this look of a robe, like gentle womanly. That's how I would describe Phoebe's work. Like, it's very much like fashion for the gentle woman. I love how it's styled with these leather slippers jumpers, so sumptuous and textural. I just also love the cut, like the shoulders, how it's slightly defined at the waist, and there is a little bit more definition, but if you don't want that, you have that option as well. Next, we've got this tuxedo jacket. It's described as a single-breasted jacket in anthracite wool flannel cut for a boxy silhouette with inverted shoulders, sharp pressed with raw edges. The tailor silhouette is offset by the casual ease of the fabric, which has a soft hand. Button fastening with pockets at the sides. Next, we have this cropped car coat. Again, really gorgeous coat, rounded at the shoulders, quite generous. And then we've got this short trench in black leather, sort of a like minimal clean coat with epaulettes. Also interesting, this coat has more of a slimmer belt, also quite long. She kind of likes these sort of like longer strips, even when added to her bags. Also, this coat, it's sleek, it's cleaner in cut, and it kind of reminds me some of her old Celine collections when fits were definitely closer to the body. And while for me, I always like a generous fitting coat jacket, I feel like fashion, we're already seeing this on the runway. Fashion is getting closer to the body. Next, we've got this accordion top in brick. This is like definitely more of like a fashion piece. I love how it kind of fans out. It's described as an accordion top in brick bonded jersey. The A-line high neck silhouette is sculpted through engineered pleating for a graphic impact. Lightweight, the fabric has an iridescent sheen. It's more of like a fashion thing, and I feel like it's important that Phoebe has these pieces because she isn't just limited to being a wardrobing only designer. She does have those fashion pieces, and she does also want to push her customer. Next, we've got the crew neck jumper in gray. So this is like a core basic that Phoebe's gonna offer probably almost every like fall winter season. She did this at Celine as well. Like there were great knitwear pieces, but then there were those experimental pieces. We've also got this patched shoulder jumper. This is another Phoebe Philo staple. I think of those famous photographs where she's wearing those high neck turtlenecks. So much of what we're already seeing here is just imagine Phoebe Philo wearing herself. In the rare public appearances we get of her, she is fully dressed in her own clothes, and I think she looks incredible. For Phoebe, this fashion fantasy is very much a reality. And then we have this liquid knot collar top in cream, another Phoebe Philo signature top with the scarf integrated into the top. We also saw this previously in black, and I personally love a top like this. It creates this seamlessness rather than having a separate scarf, and I think it creates something that looks quite elegant but also relaxed. You can wear it more of a formal setting, but if you just wanted to like pair this with a pair of jeans or whatever, it still works in that setting but still can feel quite elevated. Next, we've got this elongated shirt in charcoal. Phoebe Philo has been offering this shirt in a multitude of previous colors, this time in a charcoal wool as opposed to just like a cotton. This is a piece that you'll have for a very long time, and going back to this idea of wardrobing, having these sort of core pieces, signature like shirts and silky scarf tops. I think we're seeing other brands really venture in. I think an expression of one style will be in the form of these kind of core basic pieces. Now let's move on. We've got these split zip trousers. So this is like a new take on the zip trousers, and instead of revealing the skin though, it's more of a way to extend the width of your pants. So if you want a wider fit or a closer to the body fit, you can kind of like transform your pants. So it's more of an evolution on what we saw from the very first drop, and that's what I love about her fashion. Again, it is this constant evolving of the styles. It's not about going backwards, it's about taking what's existing and pushing it forward. Next, we've got, these are described as stirrup trousers and wool tailoring, cut lean in the leg with an elasticated jodhpur strap. The fabric is compact with a two-way stretch, maintaining the sharp silhouette and matte finish for a modern feel. Two front jet pockets and a hook and bar fastening. Kind of remind me of like when Phoebe, for her first launch, she had these leggings with these like wavy lines paired with these really oversized leather jackets. There is definitely like an 80s vibe that we saw with the launch of her collection. But I think when I see these, like I also think of something that feels a little bit more like ski wear. And then we've got these boyish tailored trousers in charcoal. So another great pair of trousers, again another Phoebe Philo signature. But that's the latest drop, and I really feel like her clothes, they're not necessarily about being like the loudest, but there is such a presence about them. What I really love is with every drop, she's proving you don't need to chase the trends or the seasons to shape how you want to dress. And I think that's really what makes Phoebe's work so timeless. Again, going back to this idea of Chanel, I think she's one of the few designers that is really capturing that spirit of Chanel, because she is redefining comfort She's redefining what is modern, and she's also challenging the system of which fashion operates, which is this idea of trends and seasons. These creative director changes, the constant like churning out of collections. She's challenging the system. I think about that interview she had with Vanessa Friedman, who was saying like, you know, this is the way fashion operates, and she was pushing back against this idea. And I think that is also very much, to me, what is so appealing about somebody like Coco Chanel. It's not just about a look or a codes. It's more of a way at which you want to challenge how fashion operates.